It made it a very easy install because I was able to just do zip ties and, I'm not going to win any SEMA awards from it or anything like that, but it actually looks really nice. You can't tell when you look at it, if it's even in there, right? So it's pretty cool. You have tuned in to Remote Trails Radio, where your hosts, Garrick and Melody, take you off the beaten path into the world of overlanding, life in the Pacific Northwest, and whatever the heck else we feel like chatting about. So grab a drink, settle in, and let's hit the trails together.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. This is Melody.
Hey, and this is Garrick.
And you're listening to Remote Trails Radio. It's getting kind of chilly out there. We're getting some weird rain.
Yeah, you look very cozy as you are right now, Melody. For our listeners, Melody's wearing a nice bulky hoodie with, I think it has koalas on it. Is what it looks like? Koala bears?
It is. It's like one of these Snuggies with koalas all over it. And it's huge. It's fantastic. It got quite cold in here all of a sudden. I'm not used to this. Also, I'm a flip-flop wearer. So, yeah, this isn't jiving with my flip-flop attire.
So I had the day off because it's Indigenous Peoples Day.
Yeah.
And thankfully my company's awesome and gave us the day off for that. I think 9 a.m. is when I started working on my rig, and I did some mods, and it was definitely cold out there. I was wearing gloves and kind of shivering, but the sun was helping because it was actually a beautiful day today, which was nice.
Nice. Yeah. That sun really helps a lot.
Yep, absolutely. And we're not going to have a whole lot of it coming soon. So might as well soak up what you can.
Yeah. What do they call it? November rain? That song November Rain, someone told me that is what the PNW is.
It's like in November and December and January and February and March. Probably April too.
Well, then we get that really weird summer in March, right?
That's true.
Always a week or so.
A little summer preview. It's like, hey, this is what it could be like, but then come back next week and it'll be back to what you remember.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So wait, do you keep overlanding during this time?
In the past, I have. It's been a tough October. Like we had one of the most beautiful Septembers ever. And then this October, I've had a bunch of cancellations due to the weather. We've got this combination of like a big temperature drop. I think La Nina just started. And then there's also a lot of rain / snow in the mountains happening now. Also, on top of all that, there's still wildfires going on in the Central Cascades. So it's kind of a triple threat going on at the moment. I was supposed to be moto camping this last weekend, but I had to cancel just because we were looking to go into the North Cleom Lake area. But it was just like, smoke, cold, rain. It just did not seem like a fun place to be. So at least I made the opportunity of the long weekends that I got the mod done I was talking about. So I want to get into that if you're ready.
Let's do it.
All right.
I want to hear about it.
In previous episodes, I've been talking about how I want to build out my electrical capabilities further. I've had my EcoFlow River 2 Pro for a couple of years now, and I mostly purchased it as just the thing to run the fridge, but I want to expand that so I can actually have more appliances that I'm running off of electricity, like electric kettle and induction stovetop, right? So I was thinking about, okay, well, if I am going to do that, I'm already struggling with keeping my River 2 Pro charged up. If I do a really long driving day of overlanding, like 4+ hours, it tends to be okay. But if I do anything less than that, I have been struggling because the alternator charging via your cigarette port maxes out at like 100 watts, right? And the River 2 Pro is like 768 watts. And if I fully recharge it while driving, awesome. But with our Canada trip and my trip back in of May down to Oregon, various things would happen where I couldn't charge it up all the way. In Oregon, we just had shorter driving days, so it just didn't have enough time to actually charge up. And then you have random things where accidentally it got disconnected from the cord and whatnot. So then suddenly,
that was the problem I was having too.
Yeah, exactly.
I had to actually listen back to an episode into your upgrade that you were talking about in order for me to fix that problem, which is fixed now.
Hold on to that thought, because I have an idea about that issue as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so I have come up with a two-pronged process for how I can prepare for getting a very large power station, because I'll need like a 2 or 3,000 kilowatt power station if I want to run all electric appliances essentially. But I'm definitely not going to be able to keep those things going with 100 watts charging.
Okay, your current setup is just one extra battery in your rig, which is a standalone. It's the EcoFlow Delta River 2.
No Delta, just the EcoFlow River 2 Pro.
Okay, sorry. EcoFlow River 2 Pro. And you're riding in a 4Runner what year?
A 2001.
A 2001. Okay, and you have a single battery in your engine bay. You don't have a dual battery system.
Correct.
Okay, got it. So that's your current setup, and it's not giving enough.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
The two-pronged approach are, okay, I need to up my charging rate from the alternator, right? And then also I need to figure out when I am not driving some other solution to top it up. The quick one is the River 2 Pro has a 220 watt capacity for solar. So I got a 220 watt panel, a solar panel, like folding portable panel from EcoFlow. So that's sort of like hits me up for if I'm not driving that day, at least I can get some solar if there's sun.
Sweet.
Yeah. Specifically, I'm going to be using that very soon because I'm going to Moab next month. And in Moab, we're staying at a place that doesn't have power at the sites, but we have a lot of sun down there. I can just set up the panels, go riding on motorcycles during the day, and let it just be charging all day long while I'm out. That is a good scenario. The 220, it would take about 4 hours to go from 0 to full if it's like a really nice sunny day. That's, perfect sunshine and perfect angling, all that, maybe more like 6. But since I'm going to be gone anyways, and we will have at least that much sunshine down there each day, that seems like that's a really nice scenario to have that extra charging source. So that leaves the alternator, right? So the alternator, I'm limited by basically the output from the cigarette lighter. And this is every single lighter out there has a 10 amp limit on it. 12 volts that you're throwing through 10 amps gets you 120 watts essentially. And you're not going to be able to get past that with that setup. So the option that we have discussed previously on previous episodes is that you can do what's called a DC-DC charger, where it connects to your battery and then it'll take the 12 volt from that and then step it up in voltage. So then you can still have a low amperage, right? Like you can still have 10 amps or whatever, but instead of having 12 volts times 10 amps, you could have 24 or 50. Like that's how you get around that and have a much faster charge rate. I did a lot of research and I decided on getting the Bluetti Charger 1. The reason why I chose this particular unit is that it basically can work with anything, because what it does is it has MC4 cables on its output, and then that will basically act like it's the solar panel input on any manufacturer's power station, because I'm using it literally to feed into a different brand, an EcoFlow. I liked that amount of flexibility because I don't know what brand of power station I'm going to get once I get my like 2 or 3,000 one. The other thing I really liked about the Charger 1 is that it automatically detects the voltage that's coming from the battery. So when my car's running, it's putting out something like 14.4 volts from the battery because it's got the alternator going and whatnot. But when I shut the car off, it drops down to like 12 or less, right? The charger detects this and automatically turns itself off, which I think is really cool. And that's something that like other chargers that I was looking at don't have that feature. So you'd have to like manually turn it off. Otherwise it'll like just drain your battery down. You can also manually turn off the Charger 1. You can turn it off via the app. Also, it comes with a switch on there, like a circuit breaker, essentially. So you can just turn off the circuit breaker if you're like, okay, I'm not going to be like using this for a really long time. So I'll just shut off the circuit breaker so there's no chance of draining it, which is how I have it right now. Because, yeah, I installed it this morning and I tested it out and it's awesome. Like
Oh, wait, you already have it and everything.
I did it this morning. Yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did this day. Like I was freezing my fingers off. That's what I installed. And I was like, I was like shivering as I was doing
Hot
it.
off the press. Yeah.
I was not sure if I was even going to be able to do it because the hardest thing was like, you have to get these really thick, I think they're like 6 AWG, which are thick cables through the firewall, and like the firewall on my 4Runner is such an annoying thing to pass cables through. And I've only done smaller cables before this.
You
So
could just make your own firewall, just punch a little hole in the
yeah, easier
back of
said than
it.
done. I was looking and I couldn't see like any of the flat spots where they would come out. So I feel like I have to take my whole dash apart to do that,
Oh,
to create
okay.
it like a new, yeah. But that is a
I've
legitimate
definitely
thing
got
to
a second
do.
one that's like a hack job.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what I was trying to avoid was the hack jobs, because
Yeah.
I'm very tempted to do the hack jobs. So I was like,
Okay, so wait, before we get too far into this,
yeah,
because I do want to hear all about the results,
sure.
can you do like a really quick layman's terms, explain to me what this is? So DC to DC charger, and you're trying to avoid using the cigarette plug lighter in your car as the power source for your battery. Is that what I'm
Right.
getting at?
Yep.
Okay. And then, yeah, you got to explain it to me like I'm young, because I even had a hard time doing the battery in the first place with a regular cigarette lighter. So, okay. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you're hardwiring this to your car battery.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So you've got your car battery in the engine bay. Now you're hardwiring this charger is like a unit.
Yes.
Okay. And this unit is now going to be hardwired to your battery. It's almost like when you're hardwiring your GMRS radio to it, right? It's kind of like the same idea.
Yeah, I don't think many people do hardwire the radios, but same idea for sure. Or like your winch. I think your winch would be pretty apt. Yeah.
Got it. Do you have to have some sort of switch pro on that, or you can just connect it directly?
The Charger one from Bluetti comes
Yep.
with a 60 amp circuit breaker on there. I just connected it directly, and then I'm relying on that circuit breaker. Yeah.
Okay, that's what you're talking about as that automatic shut off. Okay.
Yep.
Now, from that unit, which I don't know the science to that, there's a reason for that unit. Now it takes that power and puts it into your battery as an input.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing to remember is, I think on the River 2 Pro, the max it'll allow is like 13 amps through its input. So you can't change the amps. You can't go higher in amps, right? And we want to have a higher charging rate, but if we can't increase the amps, then the thing you can increase is the voltage. And then, so it's like the amps times the voltage equals watts, right? So basically this device, which is basically stepping up the voltage. If I knew more about electricity, there's probably a term for that, like transformer or something like that. It's like it's transforming the voltage. I don't know if that's actually what a
I wouldn't even know
is.
it if you were saying it anyway. I just kind of wanted to know the concept of like.
Yeah. No, basically it's like you up the voltage and that increases the watts that it can output from the alternator.
So you're getting a better output with this unit.
Yes, 5 times as much. So,
whoa.
Yeah. So because my EcoFlow input's only rated up to 220 watts, I actually am sending it out at, I think I have it set to 27 volts. So I'm going from 12 volts to 27 volts. And that's giving me like right around that 220 wattage mark. But you can set this thing all the way up to 56 volts, which ends up being 560 watts. So when I get a bigger power station, I can set it to the full 560. And then, if I had a 2000 watt hour power station, then I could charge that thing in 4 hours just from the alternator.
Okay.
Like from zero to full.
I guess compatibility is then my next question. So you've got a line running from this unit, this charger unit, to your battery, and everyone has a kind of different brand of battery. So is it universal, or do you use your own
yeah, so that's why
connector?
I picked the Charger one, because it basically uses the MC4 cables connection. And so that's basically what solar panels use. So yeah, whatever your like solar panel input is on your power station, it can do that, right? So you just do the MC4s to your solar input.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for explaining that to me. I just was having a really hard time getting my head around that.
The nice thing about this is that the hardest part of the install really was getting to the firewall. Otherwise, the cabling it comes with is all very nice. I didn't really have to do much to the cabling at all. It gives you a lot. Like, it gave me more than I needed. Like, I could have sent the unit all the way to the back of my car if I wanted to. But where I generally keep my River 2 Pro is in the footwell behind my driver's seat, like where the passenger would be.
Yeah, sometimes I use that.
Yeah, it's really the best spot. Tried to look this morning. If I were to choose a different spot, what else would work? And I tried a bunch of different configurations. It's like, nope, that footwell is exactly where it should be. So what I did was I got it to the firewall, and then I was able to route it underneath the bottom floor trim of the 4Runner, which actually was really easy to get it underneath. And then I routed it out from the floor trim to underneath my driver's seat. And then I took the bottom of it and zip tied it to the various rungs that are underneath my driver's seat, because it needs to radiate heat outward, like down and below from it, but not whatever it's mounted to. So I figured it should be safe in that sense. And I have a lot of room underneath my driver's seat for that to dissipate heat.
You are lucky in that way. 5th gen does not have that ability because we have the fans that are underneath our seat.
Interesting. Yeah, the fan exists under the passenger seat, but not the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it made it a very easy install because I was able to just do zip ties, and I'm not going to win any SEMA awards from it or anything like that, but it actually looks really nice. You can't tell when you look at it if it's even in there, right? So it's pretty cool.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got it all hooked up and it works?
Yep. Yeah. Like I said, I tested it. I took some photos of it doing 220 right into the River Pro. I turned off my car and watched it like turn itself off, which was awesome. So I am super pleased. I'm super excited to test it out and play around with it. I haven't had a fun mod day on my rig for a long time, as we kind of mentioned in a previous episode. So it was nice to get some of that going.
Yeah, I'm jealous because I don't think I've had a fun mod day in a while. Aww. It's always the aggravating, like, isn't this working mod day? So that's great. Well, I'm curious to see how that goes on your next long trip. So Moab will be perfect for that.
Absolutely. I want to hit you back on the thing that I mentioned that I wanted to hold on to. So
yeah,
the issue with charging your fridge and having that cigarette sort of like big barrel adapter be loose inside your power station. I've been, like the solution that we had, which was buying the IceCo one with the 4 connectors for the ground, is a good solution. But I was also like, maybe there's something better. So I've been doing some research on that and came across one solution that I thought was interesting. It's a bit of a compromise solution, but still, it might be something I end up doing. I don't know about on your power station, but on the River 2 Pro, it has what's called DC5521 connectors, which they kind of look like big mic jacks, I guess, in a way. I think people with CPAPs use them a lot. But anyways, there's a little barrel plug that you plug into there. And the DC outputs, there's 3 of them. There's like the main, like cigarette lighter style, and there's 2 of these DC5521s on the River 2 Pro.
Okay.
It has listed from EcoFlow that you can get 10 amps out of the cigarette one, but then the little DC5521s are 3 amps each. So that's, if you do the math, that's 36 watts you can do max from them. But it turns out if you look into IceCo and many other manufacturers that use the same compressors like IceCo, they have an eco mode, and the eco mode doesn't go more than 36 watts. So that connector, that DC5521 connector, looks way more solid than the cigarette lighter connector. So if you're willing to run your fridge in eco mode, that I think would be a pretty cool solution.
Okay. What makes it look better?
Well, I've used it before, but it's just a much more solid connection. When you put it in there, it doesn't wiggle like you would with a cigarette lighter. I mean, the cigarette lighter, the only reason we have that thing is because of cigarette lighters. That's what they, that's why that standard exists, and that existed in basically every car since, I don't know. I don't know when they first started putting those in cars, at least since the 50s. So it's just a standard that we have because of something that most of us aren't even really using anymore.
Oh, okay. I'm seeing this DC5521 plug, but it looks like that's going to be only the input on my battery, not the output. I believe the cigarette lighter is the output, but anything that fits this plug might be input for the battery.
I have heard that they are inputs for solar in some power stations, so it's possible. Okay. But I would be surprised that the Delta doesn't have it.
I'd have to look.
I forget, which Delta do you have? Is it the Delta 2?
Yep, Delta 2. Yeah, don't get me online to shop for batteries. Now I see what else is out there, and I kind of want that now. See how this works?
Yeah. Power stations are getting so much more affordable now, too. It's wild. Like Bluetti has a 2,000 watt for I think like $700 or something like that. So I see the output, like you're saying, it has 2 DC5521 outputs.
Oh, there we go. 3A max. There's 2 of them.
And it says input?
No,
or output
it's
rather.
right next to the cigarette
Yeah,
lighter.
output. Perfect. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, output
Mm-hmm.
is what we wanted. Yeah. Yeah, you could do the same thing. And actually, there's even a step further. I got this from a video on YouTube, so I will be sure to link that. He also suggested, I can't remember the name of the channel I would say right now. He also suggested that what you can do is if you want to switch between them, you can get some Anderson plugs and basically install those in line with your power cable. So then you could have the connector to your fridge and then
Mm-hmm.
have an Anderson plug. And then you could have two different ends for it. You could have the cigarette style end and just hook that into the Anderson plugs, or you can have this DC5521.
Mm.
So if for some reason you need to run your fridge at a non-eco mode, you can switch it to the
Mm-hmm.
cigarette style.
Mm.
The other idea I had on this was that if you really want to, and you have AC ports on your battery, it's less efficient, but you could also just run your inverter and hook up your fridge to the inverter. The only thing is, if you do that, you have to make sure that the wattage from the AC while it's like running from the fridge, it will stay below. I think it probably would, but we would need to confirm that. The AC connectors are a really solid connection as well. So if like you're like, oh, I'm going to be going over some like rough trail, I'm going to make sure this thing stays connected. You could like
Mm-hmm.
go the AC inverter on it and charge it through that, or run it through that rather.
Nice. Gosh, so many good solutions here.
I know. I got kind of excited about
All
power
right.
the last
Yeah.
weekend. So a lot of things have been going through my head.
Well, I'm glad you did all the research so that I didn't have to.
You're welcome. I think we can move on to what have we been up to lately?
Yes. And I know that you've been up to something lately because I certainly have been working on frustrating mods. So we can save that for another time.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'll do
Yeah.
a couple quick ones.
Okay.
It hasn't been anything in the motorized variety. I've done a couple of fun bike trips. One of them was actually a gravel ride. Do you know what that means when I say gravel ride?
I'm going to say it is a bike specifically for gravel and then you're off pavement.
Yep, nailed it. Yeah, it's basically
Okay.
like kind of sticking to Forest Service roads. There's a website called bikepacking.com that has some fun routes. So I found this one that was called like the Kianaway River route. And it is a nice loop that you can do right near Roslyn. Unfortunately, there's the Big Labor Mountain fire happening near Roslyn right now. But my friend Cody and I, we rode it and we just shortened the loop a little bit to cut out the part that was like near the fire. And that mostly worked. We did get some smoke, but it actually ended up being a really fun loop. It got pretty technical for part of it, which kind of surprised us. It had actual single track parts, so it felt kind of like an actual mountain bike. It may have been a more appropriate, but we did get through it. So that was a good time. And also Roslyn is a neat little town to visit in the Central Cascades.
Yeah, I love Roslyn.
Yeah. The other one was Grand Ridge. This was just a little day trip I did. This was cool though, because it's so close to Seattle. I think for me, it was like 30 minutes. For you, it's even closer to get to. And so you could do this on a weeknight, potentially. It's a cool route that like starts in Issaquah and heads like north-south, essentially. And there's tons of parking spots you can park at. There's one right off of I-90 if you want to. Otherwise, you can go into the Issaquah Highlands and get on from there. And it's the perfect kind of riding that I enjoy. It reminded me of the Olympic Adventure Trail, where it's really fun, single track. It's not super technical. I think it's 5 miles in each direction if you do like the whole loop. And then it connects with Duthie Hill, which is like this mountain biking area. So what I did was I rode up Grand Ridge, and then I did a little bit of Duthie, and then rode back down Grand Ridge. There were a couple of funny things though. There were signs that were saying like recent cougar activity. So I thought you might find that interesting.
That is a huge cougar area.
Yeah.
And by cougar, I mean the animals. Garrick, I know we have to now.
Thanks for specifying.
Yeah. Now, because of you, we have to make the distinction. But wait, I mean, Issaquah is all very developed. And so Grand Ridge, is that in a neighborhood?
Yeah. Basically, I parked up in the Issaquah Highlands.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
Right in the neighborhood there. Okay.
Right. They have some ballparks up there. I think, yeah, there was some games going on as I parked there, but there's plenty of parking. So that was nice, even with there being games on.
Okay.
And yeah, or you can park at Duthie, like I said, because Duthie's kind of on the north end and then it's like the Highlands on the bottom, or there's actually a trailhead for it right on I-90. So whatever's easiest for you. I had a couple of things that I found useful while I was on there. For one, it wasn't like super busy, but it was busy enough that I have this thing called a timber bell, and you put it on your mountain bike, and it's this thing where you can turn it on or off. But once it's on, it's like a cowbell that keeps going. So as you're riding and bouncing over things, it just keeps kind of chiming away, which is nice because that means I don't have to worry about having to hit it like when I'm coming up to somebody. And also people who are up the trail around corners and stuff that I can't even see, they'll hear me coming long before I'm there. So there were several times where I was coming around a blind corner, and then somebody's like, I hear you. And I was like, cool. The bell's doing its job. Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. And then also having a front light I found was helpful too, just because sometimes, especially runners, they tend to be kind of checked out. And if you have a light that's flashing, that kind of gets their attention. Even if they have headphones and they don't hear your bell, they will see the flashing light. If you're riding in Grand Ridge, because it is a multi-use trail of hikers and bikers and horses even, you want to do whatever you can to, make yourself known.
All right. Well, I think people know how to get a front light, but maybe not the timber bell. Do you mind to give us a link?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
okay,
it's great.
And these trails that you're on, can you find them on like Trailforks, or are they listed anywhere?
They are on Trailforks. They're also on Gaia GPS if you have their topo. Oh. I'm sure any hiking app that you are aware of will have Grand Ridge on there because it's a pretty popular one.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I actually ran into another mountain biker that I knew on that trail. Like, ooh, small world.
Yeah, small world. How do you know about this place? Nice.
Yeah, so that's what I've been up to lately. Hopefully more overlanding soon. I'm hoping to do some at the end of this month, but the fires have to kind of go away first. So we'll see. Fingers are crossed. Well, yeah, so that kind of sums up what I've been up to lately. I'm interested in hearing what you learned from our Vancouver Island trip, Melody. Specifically, I'm interested because you were the planner, what tips you might have for getting to and from the island.
Okay, so there's 2 ferries to get there. One is from Port Angeles. That is the Blackball Ferry. I feel like that's the cheaper, easier ferry. But I think when we price them out with the exchange rate, they're about the same. You cannot sit in your car. You have to be away from your car on the upper decks. And I believe that's because of the passport control.
Oh, really? Interesting.
I believe that was, yeah. Wait, you were on it, right? You're on there with me, right?
I don't know why the rule is. Yeah, I was on it, but I don't know why the rule exists. Your dogs can stay down there, which I thought was interesting. I thought maybe they were worried that, I don't know, people would die on there if there was like a gas leak or something. But then they're like, they can leave your dogs down there. So I was like, I don't know. I don't know why they require this.
Yeah, I have no idea. Maybe it's so that people don't plant other things in other people's cars on the way over.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I don't know.
Although Nick had to go down there several times anyways. So apparently just let your car alarm.
Required.
Yeah.
Yeah, his car alarm kept going off. It was pretty funny because we were having some good story time up on deck. And then every time over the loudspeaker, they said, white Ford F-150 car alarm was going off. Oh, it's me. And he would have to get up and go check it out. So that's a caveat. But I think that they really improved their crowd control on the Blackball Ferry as compared to last time. I believe it was just post-COVID, so it was kind of a mess. But now you just go wait in line, and then they give you a ticket, and you got a space on your ferry. You don't have to walk in and fill out any extra forms or anything. You're good to go. And then we have the other ferry is BC Ferries. And we took this ferry. This comes from Nanaimo, so it is a shorter drive from North Vancouver Island to get down to Nanaimo to take BC ferries across the mainland, BC. The main reason we did this was because some of us lived north of Seattle, and I-5 North was closed the weekend that we wanted to come back. So if we had gone Blackball Ferry to the south and then drove up, we would have a really hard time. BC ferries, super easy, really nice boats. Yeah, it was pretty chill. Garrick, you got like a front row seat too, right?
Oh, that was awesome. Yeah. That whole BC Ferries experience was great because like when I went through to pay for my ticket, because we had made reservations, but like you only pay like a portion for the reservation, then you pay the rest when you actually show up. And I had the nicest person at the gate there. And if you're ever like me and you're like not in Canada a ton and you like want to get rid of all your Canadian funds, you can pay partly in cash and the rest in card if you don't like have enough in cash left over, which I thought was great. But even when I was paying her, I was giving like her this giant hand of coins, right? And then one of them fell, and I was like, "Oh, I'll get that." She's like, "No, don't worry about it." And she's like, "I can see it's a quarter, so I'll just count it towards your total." I was like, "Really?" It was like just totally awesome. And yeah, lucked out where when they loaded me on, I went right up to the front. So I just had this like commanding view of the ocean in front of me for the entire ride, which is so cool.
Yeah, so the secret there is say you have propane, and then they'll stick you on the upper deck, which is exposed to the elements.
Yeah, that is actually a really good tip. It's like, even if you don't have propane, just, oh yeah, somewhere there I got some propane. Doesn't cost extra or anything like that. They just give you like this red little slip to be like, to note that you have propane in the vehicle, I guess. Which is funny because like at that point I was out of propane. Like I had the propane carrier, but like nothing in that container because we'd burned it all. But yeah, I think the only downside I can think of with the BC ferries is the fact that you have to cross the border on land, because crossing the border via ferry is just so seamless and so fast. Whereas when you do it on land and you don't have the Nexus Pass, it's pretty slow. Like I think it took me over an hour to get through the border crossing. But whereas Melody, with you with the Nexus Pass, you just were like zoomed right on out.
It was pretty quick.
Yeah. But if you do it on ferry and you don't have a Nexus Pass, it's still fast. Like they need to unload the boat and they need to get you off of there so they get those other cars in and going. So
yeah, you can't even use a fast pass. You're in with everyone else.
Right.
Yep. I really liked the NYMO for BC ferries. I liked the whole getting there really early. And then I think you were drying out your paddleboard. And then there's a coffee shop in there and there's a food stand. There were some ladies selling jewelry. It was a chill wait. And we were very lucky to have reservations as well, because I'm hearing lately that BC Ferries is having trouble with, I believe, manning their boats or having enough boats. And so the supply is not great. And so there's a lot of demand. So I was very happy to have reservations ahead of time.
Yeah. You mentioned the sellers that are at the station there. That was kind of surprising. Like they had quite a few vendors there. I bought a coffee mug there that like to this day is still my favorite coffee mug. It was a cool pottery style one with an owl on it. So yeah.
Yeah, homemade.
They get a lot of use. Yeah, it was very neat.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Yeah. All right. Well, what else can we tell you about Vancouver Island?
Well, did you find anything problematic with your dog with crossing? Because personally, for me, it felt like it was nothing. They didn't ask me for a rider's proof of vaccinations or anything like that.
No, I just make sure I have all of it in case they ask. I just get that feeling that if they do randomly pull you over to check your car, they're going to go through the whole thing. They might as well, because they want to try and catch you on something, right? So it's like making sure you have all your documents up to date. I just had a copy of all of his vaccines. I had his rabies tag. And then I had filled out that form that the U.S. requires you to fill out now in order to enter your pet into the U.S. Just to say that he's good to go. And I don't know. I've never been stopped for that before. However, I feel like it's just good to have it as a backup.
Makes sense. When I went over the border, I had basically no food with me. But then coming back into America, anything that was like shelf stable, I didn't really worry about. I was like, okay, if they want to take it, that's fine. But I just made sure I had nothing fresh with me. I think that's probably like the easiest way to deal with it, because they usually, when they ask for food, if they're asking if you have like meat or fruits, essentially.
Yes, don't even have a lemon. I found the lemon last second and I threw it out in Nanaimo before I went across the U.S. I was like, oh no, that would have been bad.
It's not worth kind of lemon law.
Yeah, not worth it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I know this was a big concern of Shannon, camping in bear country. Like it is absolutely bear country in North Island. What are your tips for that?
Well, I like that Shannon had this all worked out. I mean, he didn't even go on the trip, but he had a night cam on the outside so that he could monitor everything going on outside of his tent, and he could see it from the inside of his tent. I was like, wow, that's sophisticated right there. I mean, he's really concerned. But I think
don't pee near Shannon's rig or tent, I guess.
But yeah, I think we were just really super clean about our food. It wasn't hanging out at the end of the night, you know? I mean, maybe a beer can. But besides that, there was nothing, which I think is the way to go. You don't want to encourage them to hang out with you.
Yeah, and we didn't cook like right next to our rigs. We actually had a separate cooking area most of the time. I guess there was that one time where I guess your night we kind of had to because it was like raining and there was like everywhere else was mud. There was only one dry spot, so we kind of had to deal with it. But we're also like in a wreck site that had like a ton of other people, so I wasn't too worried about.
And a lot of fish. I feel like, yeah.
That's true. Yeah, they
the bear could go fishing if he really wanted to.
That's a good point.
But yeah, I brought a bear bell. However, I feel like you guys didn't really hear the bear bell when you were hiking with me.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a little bell.
That. Yeah, he was like, we were like just a little bit ahead of him. He's like, yeah, I can't hear that bell at all.
It's one of those little bells that's sold at like REI or MEC where you can Velcro it to your backpack so that when you're walking, it makes noise. But I think the best thing to do is to have a conversation or talk. It's good to talk to your neighbor, but also keeps the bear away if he knows you're there.
Yeah. I've seen some mountain biking videos where mountain bikers will just be yelling like, hey, how's it going? Because they like saw a bear.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so if you ever hear mountain bikers being kind of obnoxiously loud, there might be a good reason for it.
Yep. Oh, what else happened on VI? Then we had some broken things. Quite a few broken things.
Yeah. So man. What broke? What let you down?
Oh, for me, I fried the air compressor. But that's my fault. I mean, it was bound to happen. I've had it for 3 years installed on the inside of my engine bay, and it's not waterproof. I was using a Morflate air compressor, and it's awesome. It's so fast. It's so inexpensive. It is not meant to be installed on the inside of an engine bay. It's not meant to be anywhere but the interior of a car. Someday that was going to happen. And
it's a really hostile environment to be in. Yeah. Unless you know something is rated to be under the hood, don't put it.
A lot of moisture. We're going through a lot of muddy puddles.
Yeah, like the Charger one that I talked about that I installed, like that is not meant to be under the hood because that thing would be completely messed up. So yeah.
There you go. Right. Yep. So that failed towards the end of the trip, and boy, I'm glad it was towards the end of the trip. What about you, Garrick? Anything for you personally?
I don't think anything like failed per se, at least not that I can remember. The only thing I already mentioned was that I had some power problems where I thought my power station was charging, but it actually wasn't. And then when we got to Secret Bay and, we're going to be there for 2 days and I was at like 50% power and I was like, okay, this isn't going to work out. So I was saved by Matt. So that helped. That's why the earlier part of this episode, that's why I had to come up with some new solutions. So go through the trials and tribulations and you find out where your bottlenecks are and what's works and what doesn't.
Yep. And then Michelle has an air compressor, but she forgot her tire gauge. Either she forgot it or she lost it because it was like during the trip, she was like, oh no, I don't have a tire gauge. And it was like, oh no, shoot. And it's just, you don't carry backups of tire gauges. I only keep one. And if I lose it, that's it. Then I don't have any. So I think that for her, that was just an inconvenience because she had to wait for everyone else to finish before she could use the tire gauge and check and see if she filled it correctly or to her specifications. And then I think we crossed by one of the stores and I think it was in Wasp. I think it was like 12 Canadian dollars for a tire gauge.
That's cheap.
That's cheap?
I don't know. 12 Canadian dollars. That's like less than $10 American, right?
Oh, maybe it was more expensive. I'm trying to remember now. But I just remember us being like, oh, there's no way. There's no way. Why would you buy that? Tire gauges should be like, I don't know, $2, right? How much are they?
I don't know. I have a fancy one.
Oh,
I have
see.
2 fancy ones. I have the Indeflate, which is what I use for airing up and airing down, but then you have to connect 2 at once. So it's kind of a tire gauge, but also kind of not. I mean, you can use it if you're desperate, if you really just want to check tire pressure, but usually you're doing it as part of either airing down or airing up. But then I do actually carry a spare one with me at all times. So I do put back up because the rule of 2 is 1 and 1 is none. It's legit, right? Like
absolutely.
You carry 2 power stations, right?
Yeah.
and I think that's a good idea.
And I use both.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. There's certain things that like it might not be feasible to have 2 of them because a huge thing is I'm not like going to bring 2 swags, obviously, but for a lot of that like really small or critical stuff, then yeah, just have 2.
Yep. But you end up carrying a lot of stuff. I want to be like Michelle, where she had her minimalist setup. I was like, man, this is great.
Yeah, well,
I
okay.
want to
Like the
have
tire
that.
gauge, though, you can have your like bigger good one, right? But then you can also have
Mm,
that pen style, like really tiny ones as your backup, right? So like the
yeah.
backup doesn't have to be like the ultra awesome version. It can just be the minimalist version. It's doable.
Yep.
I think my lack of having a fire pit that can be propane fed is something that I need, but I
Mm,
just haven't got around to it because they are spendy. Like if you look at the nice ones that are like smaller size, which is what I would if I were going to bring it, it's going to have to be a smaller one. Like if you look at the air
mhm.
cans, which is probably what I would get, they're like $200-300. So you have to really want it. But
And the
yeah,
size,
one
how
less
about the
season.
size? Because the one that we've been using is pretty big.
Right. That's why I've considered the fire can one because it's like the size of an ammo can essentially. That's the can part. That one I feel like is decent and like for up to 4 people, it's a good size. If you get beyond 4 people, then it starts getting to be a little too small.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think the other issue with that is that you burn through your propane so fast with those. So I want there to be a different solution, but the solution is just not having a fire in.
No ambiance.
Yeah. Or you actually, I do have a solution that gives some ambiance. Beth gave me a lantern that has like a flame effect to it, which actually is pretty cool. It's
Really?
cooler. It's cooler than you'd think. Yeah, it's actually
Okay.
it's kind of fun and neat. Nobody's gonna sit around looking into it and like getting hypnotized like you do like with a real fire.
Mm.
But if it's kind of off in the background and it's just sort of giving that ambiance feel, like that, it's cool. Yeah. Just don't look at it directly because then it spells the magic.
Well, speaking of campfires,
Yeah, go for it.
I was going to talk about how we find campsites in Vancouver Island North.
I think that's an excellent tip because I know people in BC really hold their sites close to the chest. How do you do it? What was your method? You were the one, our fearless leader, who found some awesome sites.
Well, first I was trying to talk to people to see if I can just pry some good ones out of them, some good gems, see if they'll tell me. And then I promised we couldn't tell it on the podcast. So each one comes with its own rules. But then,
That's why we're telling you how to get these things. Like we're not
yeah,
going to tell you the sites, but we're going to tell you how to find these sites. Yeah.
exactly. So one is if you know people or get to know people. There are a lot of people posting some beautiful sites. Talk to them and see if they'll tell you where they are, because then at least you can see where you're going, instead of just noticing a pin on a map. I did a lot of research, so I don't know if this is for everybody. But when I was looking for it, I was going into multiple apps on my phone. So Gaia, Onyx, Google Maps, and Google Earth. And I was trying to find just public campsites that were available that were pinned on the map already. There's also, what was that, Garrick, that you had? Overland Trail Guides?
Yeah, Overland Trail Guides now has a very detailed route throughout all of the island.
Yeah.
I will say, though, as a caveat, is that you have to get the highest level of Overland Trail Guides because I think they have a $30 level, which gives you like
Mm.
90% of the trails. And then they have this like premium, which I think is like $50 or $60 a year,
Mm.
where you get like the premium routes. And the Vancouver Island Grand Tour, or whatever they call it, is part of one of those. So you're going to have to pay up for it, but they do have a lot.
I think it's absolutely worth it. If you don't know anything about the area, you don't have any friends, you've never been there, I mean, that's a great way to start. I would say to do your research, though, because I feel like I removed more than half the pins just based on looking at it and deciding that really wasn't for us. Because it depends
Yeah.
on your group size. How much space do you need for your campsites? A 1-person campsite is very different than a 4-person campsite, which is very different than a 10-person campsite. And for Overland Trail Guides, they would just put a pin and say campsite.
Right.
And that doesn't really help you. Also, we found out that they considered some pull-offs, like pullouts on the main road, as a campsite, which
Yeah, I remember we
is
rode up to one of them and we're like,
no.
what?
And then even still, when you're desperate, it's good to have those backups. So even if it's a pin where you don't have any idea, it's at least something. Because I know that there were definitely some nights where we were pretty desperate for a campsite.
Yeah.
And we would split up and look at them.
Yeah, and I think along those lines, it helps to split up and look. That helps a lot because you can cover more ground way faster, and also to keep looking. On that particular night where we tried to go to Georgie Lake, and it was like the most people ever, and then suddenly 20 motorcyclists showed up to what was already a busy place.
Yep.
We hit up like, I don't know, 3 or 4 sites before we ended up at Marble River. And Marble River, other than the fact that it was a crazy rainstorm, was actually a really nice campsite. And it's just because we kept looking, right? So
and it was surprising because Marble River is one of the most popular ones out there. Like when we were telling other people that we were going up to the northern part of the island, they're like, "Oh, you're going to Marble River?" So we kind of assumed that it was going to be completely packed based on Georgie Lake.
Yeah, you just don't know until you get there.
No, you don't know.
Because of the forecast, I could see every place being not busy, but for some reason, like the nicest place was not busy, and then the crappy ones were like totally taken up. Not that Georgia Lake was crappy, but a lot of the other ones that we saw that were crappy were taken.
Yeah, and all the ones we stayed at were completely free, no charge, with most of them had pit toilets.
Yeah. Overlander also has a private presence on Vancouver Island. That's another one to check as well. And then Backroads, Mapbooks Canada has a lot of good stuff too. I think like between
the layer on Gaia.
Yeah, or just buying the physical book. Between like that and Overland Trail Guides and then the other apps that you mentioned, I think you can roll into Vancouver Island North and you have a lot of options available to you. Just like we said, your first choice might not be available. You might have to go the second, third, fifth, eighth choice, whatever. But there are good stuff even when it's like way down the list, like we found with Marble River.
Yep. And I would have to say, based on our recent experience, it would be a good idea to have a backup of your pins. Because I think we had how many tracks and over 100 pins of successful sites or sites where I would mark off that we went, take a photo, and then put an X through it. Don't ever go back there again. Don't waste your time. And yeah, there was a glitch in Gaia and we lost everything.
Yeah, just gone. So, it's just empty folder. Like the folder was there.
An empty folder.
It's like there's nothing here.
God. But thankfully, Garrick, I'm really glad that you had downloaded it the few days before because I did threaten to take it down.
Yeah.
And I said I might unlink it at some point, and you went in and saved it, which was the right thing to do.
Yeah, there are generally ways you can get customer support to bring it back from the dead for you because it's archived. It's not like fully deleted. But what we found, Melody and I, after testing, is that brought back Melody's pins and routes and whatnot. But like stuff that other contributors had added to this shared folder, that doesn't come back.
It's gone forever.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you have something that's really precious, back it up locally. Just don't know.
Or just duplicate it. It's so easy to duplicate it, right?
Yeah. Also, there's just like the risk of maybe Gaia it becomes insolvent and just shuts down. That could happen any given day, right? And if all your stuff is on one service, that all that research that you've done and time you put in building it like this, like you should just back up your entire library of sites and whatnot for that reason.
Yep.
It's a good tip.
So the only thing I would add to that is that when you're overlanding, the more work that you can do while you're overlanding to your map that you're trying to build, the better it's going to be. So we just talked about trying to go to several different campsites to get to one. Every single one of those campsites, I was taking a photo, I was pinning it and describing how big it was, why it was great or why it was not great. Does it have toilets? What services does it have? And that way, if we were to ever go back, maybe it was busy this time, but it won't be busy next time or vice versa. You have that information in hand and photos to show you what it is. If you don't do that, then you're basing your experience on memory. And we visited so many places, I can't imagine doing that correctly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that, Garrick, that was a trick you taught me when we were going out. You're like documenting everything.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, I think that's a lot of tips that we just gave for Vancouver Island. So I think we can move on to random recommendations.
Oh, yeah. What do you got for me, Garrick? I know you got something.
Yeah.
Maybe one, two?
I have just one this time.
Oh,
just one. I hope I haven't done this before. Before we start recording, I said I'm going to start making a list of what our random recommendations are. So if I've already given this one, I apologize. But one of my favorite desserts is to just take a pitted date and add almond butter to it. It's like the simplest little thing. Dates keep really well. Almond butter keeps very well. And it takes 2 seconds to do it. I like the pitted ones because then you don't have to worry about getting that out. But you can also do it with pitted, I guess, for some reason you prefer removing the seed from it. But yeah, it's super, super good tasting. And actually, as far as desserts go, it's like on the healthier side too. And because it keeps so well, that's something you can easily do while overlanding, and you don't even have to refrigerate any of it. So I think pit a day would be really tasty overlanding dessert.
Oh, that's a good tip. It sounds sticky, but it also sounds like you won't have any trash afterwards.
The dates themselves aren't that sticky, and because it's pitted, it has a natural opening in the center of it. So you just,
Oh, it's like a
take
stuffed
from your knife.
almond butter date.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So then, I mean, unless you mess up your filling with it, it's not that sticky. Yeah.
Leave it to me.
Good old Moore's Law.
Can I mess up a 2-ingredient dish? Yes, absolutely.
So yeah,
Nice.
that is my random recommendation. How about you, Melody?
Well, today I would recommend Depop.
I don't know what this is.
Yeah, I thought you might not know what this is. So there are some used clothing websites, several actually. And they, for the most part, will have an app on your phone in order to buy them. You've got like selling marketplaces like Facebook Marketplace, and you've got OfferUp. But clothing is like a whole different beast, Like you have certain particulars that you need in order to buy something used. And it's kind of the new thrifting, to be honest. Like the whole going into a thrift store and looking for a treasure is still cool. However, now you can do it 24 hours a day from the comfort of your home.
I think they're called come-ups.
Thanks, Garrick. I needed that little spice to this recommendation.
I learned that from Macklemore. So
okay, great.
Local legend.
Oh boy. There is one really famous one called Poshmark.
Okay, I've heard of that
Poshmark. You've probably heard of it. It is so huge now that some people say that it's too huge, and whatever you order, you're going to get some fake in the mail. That is not what you saw in the photo. So in order to avoid that, there are some other apps that service similar functions. Some of them are like for really high-end stuff, and some of them are just for everyday things. And I think Depop kind of fits there perfectly. So if you're looking for a new thrifted t-shirt, I mean, it's anywhere from $4 to $8 on this site. And then you pay for shipping, which is not great, but I think it's around $5, $6.
So what's an example of something cool that you got on Depop?
They have like tons of graphic tees. So if you're a graphic tee wearer and you're like me, where I have a problem not being able to find really many good ones in nicer stores, this has every band t-shirt you can think of. So I think that's really neat.
Nice.
Yeah, Depop, Depop, and it's just an app for your phone.
Sounds good. Go get those come-ups.
Eric is downloading it right now. He's so excited about it. There's no batteries on there. You can't buy any batteries on this site.
Man.
So
I'm sure there's some shirt on there that's light up that takes power.
I mean, if you need some new Toyota apparel, there's probably some Toyota stuff on there, to be honest.
It'd be pretty rad. Yeah, get the old school logo. Yeah. It looks like the paint lines or calligraphy rather.
There you go. See, I got you interested. You're going to do it. Nice.
Yeah, that'll close us out. I have a couple of announcements about the podcast. One is that we are on YouTube. We're taking our older episodes and we're putting them on YouTube. Right now, it's just a waveform, but I'm working on maybe having something cool that's more than even just a waveform eventually. So keep an eye on that and go on there. Please give us a like, subscribe to us. We're also on Instagram. We've been on there for a while, but I realized that we don't have any followers. So I've been posting stuff there, but nobody's seeing it. So
don't say that, Garrick. Jeez. We haven't told anyone. That's why no one knows about it.
Okay. So this is me telling our listeners that we're posting cool stuff on there. I recently posted some photos of me doing the install for the Bluetti Charger 1 and then playing around with the EcoFlow solar panels. So check us out. We're Remote Trails Radio on Instagram. And that's all one word, essentially, or there's no breaks or anything. So Remote Trails Radio on Instagram. Melody, do you have any closing thoughts for the episode?
I do not. Do you have any closing thoughts for the episode?
I guess we can now say like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Like and subscribe.
All right.
Thanks, Garrick.
Cool. Yeah. So thank you. We appreciate you, our dear listeners, and hope to have even more of you and more episodes in the future. So we'll close it with that. That is a wrap.
If you want to get in touch with us by email, let us know what you think. remotetrailsradio@gmail.com.
RTR, over and out.